This is not the temperature we are used to. It is Florida, and it is 49 degrees outside. I know a lot of you headed out today. You put on your scarves, your jackets. Some of you had hats and gloves. Carolina, it is chilly today. We can say it's cold outside today.
There's no
legitimately
doubt we can
cold.
say that. We talked about this earlier. We actually tied a record here, which doesn't happen very often when you look at our area. Incredible how cold it is today. Look, in recent memory, here in Tampa Bay, we're talking about black ice.
When was the last
Amazing.
time we had that discussion?
Oh my goodness. Florida Highway Patrol shut down the left southbound lane on the Veterans Expressway at Hutchinson Road at about 6:30 this morning. One poor worker, look at this, inspecting the ice. He slipped and fell as cars passed by. Sky 10 happened to be zooming in while that poor guy, fell. It appears that he is okay. Crews completely shut down the southbound lanes of the expressway for some time to scrape that ice away and place sand on the concrete. So here's what we think happened. It appears that water from a nearby construction site somehow leaked onto the road. So what can we expect moving forward, especially tonight?
Okay, so we're still talking cold, but we are not talking record-breaking cold like we saw this morning. So it's going to be better, but we're still going to need the coats and sweaters early tomorrow morning. So these are what we saw this morning. Look at all these 20s on the map. 29 in Tampa. We mentioned that tied a record that was set back in 1981. 23, that was our temperature in Brooksville, not the wind chill, the actual ambient temperature. We saw 28 in Clearwater, 27 in McDill, got down to 25 in Lakeland. It was a cold, cold morning. And tomorrow, yes, it's going to be cold, but we're going to warm up more as we head through the afternoon, and we're not going to completely bottom out those temperatures tonight. We will get down into the 30s, but in and around Tampa Bay, we should stay above that freezing mark. Now, if you're watching from the Nature Coast or from areas that tend to run a little bit cooler east of I-75, you may briefly hit that 32-degree mark tonight, but you won't be staying there for very long. I'll let you know how much we're going to ramp up those temperatures tomorrow afternoon, and especially for the weekend. I think you're really going to like that forecast. I'll have it for you in just a few minutes.
And looking forward to it. And check out these photos from Homosassa. Daniel Drigger says he kept his sprinklers on because his water pump is above ground, so a deep freeze could damage it. So he kept the pump running. He also says he did it to entertain the kids. Take a look at the ice on crops in Plant City. This video was taken around 11 this morning. You can see the ice on the strawberry plants and orange trees. Farmers water their crops when the temperatures are expected to drop below 32 degrees. That prevents the crops from getting colder than 32 degrees.
Imagine camping in this weather and in a tent. Well, more than 1,400 people are camping for the next week and a half in Polk County. The Alafaya River Rendezvous takes place every year in Homeland. 10 News reporter Grady Trimble is there live. Grady, it was below freezing last night and people still slept out there.
I know, Allison, hard to believe, right? These are hardy people out here, but they know how to have a good time too. They've got me all dressed up in period clothes, complete with the hat, and it's really warm right now out by the fire, but it was not like that last night when it was below freezing inside their tents. Stepping into the Alafaya River Rendezvous is like stepping back in time. This is the crib.
This is the living quarters. As you can see, this is the shower.
Outside, you're not allowed to have any modern technology. Anything before 1840 is off limits. Inside, anything goes.
Yeah, sure.
I could have my phone in here?
Yep.
It's okay,
exactly.
We have a camera in here?
Yes.
For the most part, though, it's all traditional period supplies. That means when temperatures dropped...
I wore this to bed, which kept me nice and warm.
All Jim Farley had to stay warm was clothes and blankets. What compels you to voluntarily step outside when all the rest of us are going inside?
Well, I stay inside the tent most of the time, so it's
I don't
not
consider
that bad.
this inside. So you slept out here last night?
Absolutely.
What was that like?
It was a little like Iowa.
That's where Dick Bennett's from.
It is the coldest I remember being in Florida.
So if you're tired of this chilly weather, don't worry. Even by his standards, it was cold.
I saw the fire ants out here with jackets on this morning. And, they're wearing little hats and jackets. Now that's cold.
So these folks are going to be camping out here all weekend and all of next week. It should be a little warmer for them tonight and a lot warmer going into the weekend. And I think they're all looking forward to a little bit of warmer weather. But as one of the guys said out here to me, there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. live in Polk County, Grady Trimble, 10 News.
Grady, you have the clothing. Are you staying out with there tonight?
I don't think I'm going to stay out in a tent. I got a nice heated home to go to, so I think that's my plan.
Okay, it looks good. Very good, Grady. Again, these campers are going to be out there until January 27th. The Alafaya River Rendezvous will be open to the public Friday the 26th and Saturday the 27th. Hopefully it will be a little warmer for them then. Whether you're camping, you're staying inside, maybe you're just headed out for a run, you can check weather conditions anytime on our free 10 News app. Just search WTSP in the App Store.
Just days after a fatal massive shuttle boat fire off the coast of Pasco County, operations at Tropical Breeze Casino resumed today. This is video we shot just about an hour and a half after people started taking the Gulf waters to gamble. Sarah Rosario was there as the boat took off, and she joins us now. So Sarah, how many people were ready to board?
Well, Catalina, we saw about 20 people get on that casino boat just about an hour and a half ago. And that is the actual casino boat, because the shuttle that normally runs several times a day, as you can see by the times listed behind me, that shuttle went up in flames on Sunday, causing that fatal fire, as what you were just talking about moments ago. So that is going to be the only gambling trip for today that just left about 3:30 p.m. And as we go to video, you can see how that boat was leaving this docking area, going out to sea where many people will take advantage of the gambling opportunity. On Sunday, that 72-foot boat named the Island Lady took off with 50 people on board. Shortly after, the captain noticed there was engine trouble, immediately turned the boat around, running it close to shore, and that's when it went up in flames. As you can see, people were jumping into the water to save their lives. One of those people was 42-year-old Carrie Dempsey, who later died. The cause of the fire and her death hasn't been released. And today we spoke to several people in the area as the boat was taking off who said after seeing what happened on Sunday, they'd never get on one of those boats again.
And I was surprised. I'm like, wait, I said that boat's taking off. I can't believe it. I was surprised. They're in business again, I guess.
Now we're getting a little bit of feedback here, but as far as the company who took this boat out, they're not going out of business as far as we know. All we know is that they have temporarily shut down operations after the fire. Now, as people were coming to watch the boat and coming to gamble here out on the waters, the family of that victim, Carrie Dempsey, they were gathering for her funeral, which is another reason why several people were telling us today that they think it's much too early for this boat to take to the waters again. Reporting live in Port Richey, Sarah Rosario, back to you.
The clock is ticking for Congress to pass a new spending bill. Lawmakers have until tomorrow night to come up with a deal, or the government will shut down. President Trump is not optimistic. Still, Republicans are working on a short-term fix that would keep everything open through February. It includes a reauthorization of the Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP. Democrats want a deal that protects more than the 700,000 undocumented immigrants known as Dreamers, who were brought to the country as children. The president said he'll agree to that in exchange for funding for a border wall with Mexico, tweeting, "If there is no wall, there is no deal."
If for any reason it shuts down, the worst thing is what happens to our military.
He has made continuous statements that have created more dysfunction.
If the back and forth continues and a shutdown ends up happening, critical services like Social Security will keep functioning, but national parks and museums would close.
The Southern California couple accused of starving and torturing their 13 children will make a first court appearance later today. Prosecutors in Riverside outlined a harrowing life of starvation and punishment that David and Louise Turpin allegedly inflicted on their 13 children.
The victims report that as a punishment, starting many years ago, they began to be tied up. Circumstantial evidence in the house suggests that the victims were often not released from their chains to go to the bathroom. One of the children at age 12 is the weight of an average 7-year-old. None of the victims were allowed to shower more than once a year.
Surveillance video shows the couple being taken into custody Sunday. Police found a dozen malnourished kids in the family home after a sibling, a 17-year-old girl, escaped through a window and called for help.
The 17-year-old victim that escaped had been working on a plan with her siblings to escape this abuse for more than 2 years.
The defendants face more than 24 charges of torture, false imprisonment, and child abuse. If convicted, they could get from 94 years to life in prison. Relatives say the Turpins were deeply religious, but they never had an indication that the couple might be mistreating their children. Prosecutors also say the children endured frequent beatings and sometimes chokings.
Forget 2018. Doctors are already working to fight the flu next season. This year's flu outbreak is so bad that some Texas school districts have completely shut down, and some hospitals are treating this as if it were some kind of major disaster. Let me give you an idea of just how widespread some of the flu is all across the country. We're seeing every single state lit up. Every single state has some type of flu that they're dealing with at this point. Some states are doing better than others across the country. We're dealing with a low amount of flu here in Florida, which is really good news, but that does not mean you should let your guard down just yet. It is still very important to get a vaccine. They are still available if you haven't gotten yours yet. And already now, a lot of experts are looking ahead to next flu season.
Room 36B, where the specimen sample of that nasty flu bug you had might be in one of these vials. And where a team of 20 doctors and lab technicians are trying to find out if this year's vaccines actually work.
Yeah, it is a pretty intense flu season.
Manjusha Gaglani is the chief of pediatric infectious diseases here.
We are still at the peak levels. It hasn't really slowed down yet.
And the leader of this, the Vaccine Effectiveness Program. This lab in Temple is one of 5 sites across the country chosen to find out if vaccines work, and if they don't, why. Testing flu samples, finding which strain they are, if the patient had a vaccine or not, and transmitting that data every week to the CDC in Atlanta.
Each site is equally important because we are representing the different region.
Different regions with often different versions or strains of the flu making people sick.
That kind of makes the data for the whole US, so it's very important.
Medical experts consider an influenza vaccine effective if it is effective at least 50% of the time, but right now some of them aren't even performing that well. The goal here in Temple and at other sites across the country is to make those numbers improve. This year's vaccines are proving the least effective against the H3N2 strain of the flu, the strain they are finding the most of in these lab tests. Tests that will determine what next year's vaccine will look like, a decision that has to be made by late next month. These flu specialists processing samples of the flu from Texas every day. Also say you should get your flu shot no later than Halloween each year. That even if you had the flu, get the shot anyway. You may have only had one strain of the flu with several other strains still able to get you sick again.
So it is very worthwhile for me to be involved in trying to prevent people from being ill.
Prevention, that is the daily work of a team in the middle of Texas, in the middle of the nationwide fight to keep you from getting the flu.
Think about this. The CDC says that you are 200% more likely to get the flu this year. The most important step that you can take to protect yourself really at this point, get the flu shot.
But some are saying this year's flu shot is only 10% effective. We talked to Dr. Dumas, the director for pediatric infectious disease at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, and he says this is not the case.
The 10% vaccine effectiveness information we have, or that we're hearing about in the news, comes from the Australian flu season last summer. And they found that their vaccine, which is the same as ours, was only 10% effective against one of the 3 major circulating strains, but it was 50 to 60% effective for the other strains going around.
And it's not too late to get your flu shot. There's still a couple of months left in flu season, so it might be worth your while.
Yeah, to definitely go and get one.
And I mean, even if it only drops your odds, I mean, it's a nasty flu season
really
this
is.
year. It's gotten a lot of people, and you don't want it.
You don't want it at
No,
all.
when you meet someone who's in the middle of it, it's scary. It's terrible on your body.
Yeah.
You also don't really want this weather that we've been dealing with.
Well, the good news is that at least will be much more short-lived than the rest of the flu season.
that's true.
In fact, we made it through the worst of it. This morning, we're likely not going to see temperatures that cold again. But tomorrow is still going to be a little bit on the cold side. So we still need the coats and sweaters for at least one more day. These are our temperatures right now. So as you're heading out and about this evening, it's still pretty chilly out there. We're not seeing any warm numbers on the map. In fact, very few of us even out of the mid-50s. So 50 right now for Tampa, 46 degrees your current reading in Clearwater. It's really chilly out there, and we're going to keep things only getting colder as we head through the rest of the night tonight. So here's the radar. Not much going on. That means we're able to lose all that heat, what little there is out there, that's going to be sent right out into space, and we are not going to benefit from that blanketing effect that clouds can have overnight. So you see those sunny skies definitely reflects that, but those winds have come down as well. So we're still going to have it be really chilly. The big difference is we're starting to see some slightly higher moisture levels coming in with this, which means we're not able to just bottom out those temperatures the way we were this morning. So instead of most of us waking up in the 20s, most of us are going to be waking up with temperatures in the 30s instead. Now, it's still cold, but most of the area will stay above that freezing mark. So we're going to see a lot of mid-30s for the Tampa Bay area. May get a couple of 40s in there if you're right along the water. Since those temperatures are still in the mid-50s, it is going to have a little bit of an effect in terms of helping to keep those areas just a little bit warmer. But it's our inland spots, especially up into the nature coast, where we're really going to look for another cold morning, and we'll see another day in the 20s, at least to start. But warming up toward the second half of the day, well, then it actually looks pretty nice. We'll get some 60s back in the mix, a few clouds, so still a lot of sunshine there. Low 60s for the nature coast, mid 60s largely for the Bay Area, about 64 to 66 for most of the Tampa Bay area, and a little bit warmer for those spots like Plant City, Seffner, that always tend to run just a couple of degrees warmer. And then Sarasota, Manatee counties looking very similar. Our inland areas also looking pretty comfortable tomorrow. No significant deviations. Plan on about 65. So you'll need that jacket or sweater, but by the afternoon, you certainly won't need those heavy coats. And then the trend is upward from there. So we start seeing those warmer temperatures coming in. We'll also start to see a little bit more cloud cover come Friday, but we'll also warm things up a little bit more, and we'll get those numbers back near our average, which I know January is the coolest month here, but typically we're about 70 at this point in the year. We were much, much cooler than that today. By the time we head into the weekend, we'll see those numbers recover, and it'll be much more comfortable, and we can look ahead to an absolutely gorgeous weekend out there. Notice that the overall trend is, we're going to slowly start to bring up those numbers. Oops, our models are catching up a little bit, but there you go. You see the overall trend is that these squiggly lines are going up over the next couple of days with our lows at the bottom, our highs at the top. And by the time we head into Sunday, we're actually looking for a return of not only 70s, that actually starts for many of us on Saturday, but we'll get mid-70s back in the forecast by Sunday, upper 70s Monday, and then largely staying dry as we head through the next week as well, although we will be a little bit cooler next week. Overall, still looking pretty good. Low 70s after we survived the 50s.
Fine.
I'm not complaining.
We will take it.
Yes.
Especially when you're looking across the southeast and you're seeing what they're dealing with. It has been some crazy weather. Look at this, snow across the southeast. People are trying to fly out of Raleigh-Durham. And the international airport there, dozens of flights have been canceled or delayed at this point. A majority of those flights were Southwest and American Airlines.
And throughout Raleigh, businesses were closed due to snow and ice. Starbucks was closed. Chick-fil-A also closed in Raleigh.
And in Virginia Beach, the below freezing weather, that didn't keep these competitive swimmers from the pool.
Oh, no.
It's heated, though. Don't worry. 82 degrees is what the water is. Many of the swimmers are training one day to head to the Olympics. We have several local swim clubs that are also practicing in the cold before dawn. Of course, it's not Virginia Beach cold, but still.
It's heated, but they still have to get out of that water.
Exactly.
Okay, and check out Detroit, where a driver lost control in the snow and slammed into a tow truck. The car hits, the truck, pushes the disabled car off the tow truck bed, and you can see the driver backing up in a hurry onto the road. Fortunately, Allison, no other cars were coming at that time.
Thank goodness. That is some scary video for sure. Yeah. The makers of Tide have something to say about the Tide Pod Challenge. You've seen the videos of the Tide Pod Challenge. It's disgusting and potentially deadly to bite into a packet of laundry detergent. Now YouTube is taking a stand and taking those videos down after the so-called challenge went viral. There's been a 20% increase in calls because of all of this to poison control. And now there are warnings from doctors and poison control not to eat detergent. New England's Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski is teaming up with Tide for a PSA that you're going to want to share with your kids.
No, 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 no. No, no, no. No. What the heck is going on, people? Use Tide Pods for washing, not eating. Do not eat.
Seems kind of obvious, doesn't it? You and I both know that this is a bad idea. And now doctors are telling us why the challenge could actually kill you.
Pods are intended to dissolve fairly quickly in water, so the coating that's on them dissolves fairly rapidly. So if it gets in contact with your saliva in your mouth when you're putting it in there, that can dissolve very quickly. And even if these people don't intend to swallow this stuff, it's very common for them to get it in their mouths.
It has the potential to do a significant amount of irritation and corrosion to the oropharynx, to the mouth, the throat, the esophagus, what's called a surfactant layer in the lungs that keeps the lungs open and functioning. And this product, if it does get inhaled or into the lungs, it's going to cause a collapse.
The pods are made of ethanol, hydrogen peroxide, and polymers. It's a highly toxic mix that makes it effective at cleaning your clothes. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says it's working with detergent manufacturers to make the film on those pods tougher and to reduce the toxicity of the detergent. Procter & Gamble says parents should keep laundry pods high up and away from children. Some researchers, though, just recommend you don't buy the pods and stick to regular liquid detergent instead.
A porch pirate's man bun is still intact after taking off with his arms full of boxes.
If you look outside and you see all the sunshine, it is deceiving because it looks gorgeous outside tonight, but temperatures have dropped over the last 30 minutes. It's now 46 degrees. And I tell you what, guys, it is chilly when you step outside. Jackets, coats, scarves, gloves. I'm recommending those. Gloves would be nice right about now.
You know, Allison, just when you think you're going to put away that bubble jacket, you're like, no, I actually need it today.
No, wait. Exactly.
Put it on. All right, so take a look at this video. Workers at Plant City's Keel and Curly Winery on the Notasassa Road shared these photos of their frozen blueberry farm this morning. The freeze protected their crops, and it looks incredibly beautiful. Also, take a look at the icicles at Al Lang Stadium in St. Petersburg. The Rowdies tweeted out these photos this morning, and check that out, just how cold it was.
And that's worth noting because we see that a lot more in places like the Nature Coast. Once or twice a year, we really get kind of that level of freezing. But to do that in St. Pete, that takes a pretty intense cold front.
Yeah. So what are we looking at tomorrow? Because this morning I was trying to find gloves for my kids and I could not find matching pairs. I'm
I do it all the time.
Right? You're like pink and purple, go.
We're in Florida. We break about like 3 times a year. It's like you got a color theme here. Like red and black can kind of work. And then, yeah, the pink and the purple, you know, maybe a pink and a blue like you're going to a baby shower or something. Either way, you're going to need those one more time tonight. Those temperatures are down in the 40s through much of the area, especially areas north of I-4, west of I-75. Elsewhere, we're still seeing some 50s, but by your 6 o'clock check, that will probably not be sticking around. Now, the good news is that the overall trend is upward with our temperatures. Tonight, yes, will still be cold. I anticipate those numbers diving into the mid-30s for much of the Bay Area. Still get some 20s into the Nature Coast, but that's not going to be typical for the entire area the way it was last night. And the general trend is, yeah, even our overnight lows as well as our highs, they're going up as we head toward the weekend. I'm going to break down that forecast for you coming up in just a few minutes. But first, it is cold out there. However, a lot of folks at the Alafaya River Rendezvous braving the cold. And this is located in Homeland outside Bartow. This is in Polk County. And we've got several hundred people. Can you believe this? Camping in tents through January 27th. So they're going to be dealing with some pretty cold nights. Largest living history event in the Southeast. And this portrays life before the 1840s. Some pretty snazzy outfits there.
And check out this photo that we got from Gary White in St. Petersburg. He writes, "My car skidded out on the ice this morning in St. Pete." As you see, it's a toy car on a frozen bird bath. We got a lot of good photos from you guys. We want to see more of them too. When you're on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, use the hashtag #SendTo10 so we can share them.
The clock is ticking for Congress to pass a new spending bill and avoid a government shutdown. During a campaign-style event in Pennsylvania, President Trump added to the tension by saying Democrats would be to blame for a shutdown. But Democratic leaders are pointing the finger at the president.
I really believe the Democrats want to shut down.
There is no better evidence that the president doesn't give a hoot if the government shuts down than the fact that he's away campaigning today, one day before the shutdown looms.
Democrats want DACA to be a part of any budget deal. Trump says he'll agree to that in exchange for funding for a border wall. Republican House leaders plan to vote on a resolution letter tonight that would keep the government open until February and reauthorize the Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP.
Dylan Farrow is talking about allegations of sexual abuse against her adoptive father, Woody Allen. The daughter of Mia Farrow opened up to Gayle King on CBS this morning, and the interview is getting a lot of attention online. Dylan says the incident happened when she was just 7 years old.
I was taken to a small attic crawl space in my mother's country house in Connecticut by my father. He instructed me to lay down on my stomach and play with my brother's toy train that was set up. And he sat behind me in the doorway. And as I played with the toy train, I was sexually assaulted. As a 7-year-old, I would have said he touched my private parts.
These accusations are certainly not new. She's been saying for more than 2 decades that she was abused, and she says she's still coping with the aftershocks of that abuse. The Me Too movement has helped give her a platform to talk about it again, and Allen has never been charged. Gayle showed her a clip from CBS 60 Minutes where he denied those allegations.
Isn't it illogical that I'm going to, at the height of a very bitter, acrimonious custody fight, drive up to Connecticut where nobody likes me in the house. I'm with a house full of enemies. I mean, Mia was so enraged at me, and she had gotten all the kids to be angry at me, that I'm going to drive up there and suddenly, on visitation, pick this moment in my life to become a child molester. It's just incredible.
Both New York State child welfare investigators and a report by the Yale New Haven Hospital found the abuse did not happen, but the Connecticut state prosecutor questioned the hospital's report's credibility, saying there was probable cause to charge Allen, but he thought Dylan was too fragile to face a celebrity trial. Now, Woody Allen gave this statement to CBS This Morning, which says, in part, even though the Farrow family is cynically using the opportunity afforded by the Time's Up movement to repeat this discredited allegation, that doesn't make it any more true today than it was in the past. I never molested my daughter. Now, he went on to say all of the investigations into the matter ended a quarter century ago.
It took 2 cranes to lift this jetliner just dangling off a Turkish runway. The Pegasus Airlines plane skidded while it was trying to land over the weekend. All of the passengers and crew, thankfully, were able to get out safely. That plane landed just feet from the Black Sea. Look at this. The pilots say the plane's right engine suddenly surged, forcing it to swerve to the left. The failed landing is now under investigation. This might be one of the boldest porch pirates that we have seen in a while. A camera at this Clearwater house captured a man swiping a beverage cart, an accessory for an ATV, and 3 accessories for a home alarm system. It takes him just a few tries, but he eventually ends up getting his balance just right, and then he takes off with everything. Look at him trying there for just a second. Now, as you can imagine, Clearwater police would love to talk to this guy. If you have a tip, be sure to give them a call.
And every hair in place. The Manatee River will be the site of the 4th annual Bradenton Area River Regatta in 2 weeks. 10 News is a proud sponsor of this year's event. Pier 22 organizers say this regatta draws a larger crowd than any other across the country. Last year, more than 100,000 attended that one-day event. The economic impact was estimated at $8 million for Palmetto and Bradenton. Racers say the Manatee River is the ideal venue for them and for spectators.
It gives all the spectators an opportunity to get close to our watercraft that we race and actually come up to us and ask us questions. From any point on the river where you're standing or sitting on a boat, you can see the race very well. You can actually feel the mist from the waves and stuff coming on you. That makes a better experience.
The Bradenton Area River Regatta is Saturday, February 3rd. The Green Bridge along downtown Bradenton will be open to foot traffic.
Meghan Markle is learning the ins and outs of her new country. Royal watchers in Cardiff, Wales started lining up at dawn to catch a glimpse of Prince Harry and his fiancée, Meghan Markle.
The couple has been touring around the United Kingdom, introducing the future Duchess to the people in her new home.
Hundreds braved a cold and blustery day in Wales to welcome Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to Cardiff. Their train from London arrived almost an hour late, but patient fans greeted the smiling couple with American and Welsh flags.
Well, we just adore Prince Harry and we're over the moon that he's found such a lovely fiancée bride-to-be.
While the trip is meant to showcase Welsh culture, it's also a chance for the British public to get up close and personal with the 36-year-old former actress.
They talk about the Meghan Markle sparkle, and I think that's quite true. She's a very, very pretty young lady.
It's their third official visit around Britain as a couple. The agenda included a stop at the 2,000-year-old Cardiff Castle, where Welsh musicians and poets performed. From the castle, they continued on to a community center in Cardiff that helps young people succeed through sports programs. It's part of the couple's aim to work with charities across Britain.
I'm excited to just really get to know more about the different communities here, smaller organizations who are working on the same causes that I've always been passionate about.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will make several other official visits in the coming months before they marry on May 19th. Terry Okita, CBS News, London.
I don't know about you two, but it's all about the dress, isn't it? Cannot wait to see it.
Especially if you're in a royal wedding.
Well,
yeah.
of course.
I mean, we all watched Kate Middleton's. They're like, oh.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
And Diana as well.
May's right around the corner. Yeah. Nice and chilly out for you today. And as we go into the night, those temperatures slowly going to just keep dropping.
They come down, but not like what we saw last night. So most of the area, while we're going to be cold, so don't put away the coats and sweaters and everything just yet, we're not going to drop below freezing the way we did this morning. So it does look like at this point, it's pretty safe to say the worst is over, and we're going to gradually warm things up from here. But we got to get through tonight. It is still going to be pretty cold. At least we've got a pretty sunset, though. Take a look at what's going on in St. Pete Beach right now, and I got to tell you, this camera probably not doing it justice. So if you do have some pictures, we would love to see those. Just hashtag send to 10. I think it'll be a really great sunset tonight. We'll see a little bit of cloud cover, but not a whole lot. And yes, we will get some chilly temperatures in the mix as well. So here you go. Seeing a lot of 40s already. By next check, we're going to see more of those. Those temperatures are going to continue to drop, and ultimately we'll end up in the 30s overnight tonight. But most of us will stay above that 32-degree mark, especially in and around the Tampa Bay area. Where we're likely to drop below freezing is once again going to be for the Nature Coast. But where we saw a lot of 23s to 25s last night, we're going to see more in that 28 to 30 range instead. So it will be warmer, but not warm by any stretch. However, you get through one more really cold night tonight, and again, it's not even as bad as it was this morning. You survived the worst of it. Then we're going to start to warm things up as we look ahead toward the weekend. So still getting a few areas where we're talking about 28 to 32 degree readings, but it's not going to last very long. You're probably only going to spend an hour or two below that freezing mark, and then you're going to warm right back up. And afternoon highs looking better for tomorrow as well. Instead of 50s, we're going to see a lot of 60s, so about 10 degrees warmer than what you saw today. Low 60s for the Nature Coast, mid 60s largely for the Tampa Bay area, so we're going to see anywhere from about 63 to 67 for most of the area. If you're right along the water, maybe just a little bit cooler there. Same story for Manatee and Sarasota counties. Again, right on the water, those Gulf temperatures, they're down in the mid 50s. So that's why you're going to run a little bit cooler right along the coast, with our inland spots running right around 65 degrees and still keeping things rain free. So with sunshine, those 60s actually are going to feel pretty nice as we look ahead toward tomorrow. And then the really nice weather joins the party, and we start talking about 70s making a comeback by Saturday. Still a good amount of sunshine there, a little bit more in the way of cloud cover because we're starting to bring in a little more humidity. But with that, we also bring in warmer overnight. So while Saturday morning isn't exactly going to be balmy, we're not talking about 30s, we're talking about 40s, and then that trend continues with warming us up into the 50s to start on Sunday, and then into the mid 70s during the afternoon. So this right here, if you're looking to get out and about this weekend, Sunday's your day. You want to head to the beach. It'll be warm enough to do that. I wouldn't advise swimming. Those temperatures, again, still pretty cold, but it'll be a nice day to get outside. Pollen levels, moderate range. Cedar's going to be your primary offender. No significant changes there. Probably not going to see those numbers fluctuating a whole lot really over the next few weeks. Gradual warming trend followed by a slight cool down toward the middle of the week. And with that, we could bring in a few showers to the mix, but our coverage should be pretty low. Only looking for around 20% on any given day, Tuesday, Wednesday, into Thursday, maybe a stray shower in the mix Monday night. But Monday, the warm day we're looking toward this week, with temperatures in some spots up near 80 degrees, almost 78. Not looking so bad in Tampa Bay.
And we have a 10 News alert out of California. It's a not guilty plea for this couple accused of starving, torturing, and chaining up their 13 children. David and Louise Turpin were arrested over the weekend after their 17-year-old daughter was able to escape and call for help. We'll, of course, keep an eye on that one. Today was a ribbon cutting of the long-awaited Crystal Lagoon in Wesley Chapel.
Look at how big this is.
Huge.
This is really cool. This is from Sky 10. The Crystal Lagoon is a 7.5-acre man-made lake, and it is all surrounded by sand and palm trees. It looks pretty cool. It's going to sit on a new community being built called Epperson. It'll also have a water slide, a swim-up bar, and a restaurant. The site's still under construction right now, but today's ribbon cutting marks the finishing of the pool.
Is state-of-the-art technology. We are able to build and maintain these lagoons at very low cost.
The public grand opening for the lagoon is scheduled for later this year, and Olympian Michael Phelps is scheduled to be there for it.
When you think of a double quarter pounder burger, you're probably hungry all of a sudden, and you're also thinking of McDonald's. But Burger King has had enough of that. It's launching its own version called the Double Quarter Pound King. Sounds even better. If you think Burger King is taking a direct shot at its competitor, well, that's because it actually is. Burger King literally says it's trying to flame grill the competition, but both companies might have to put their ongoing beef between each other down because England is on the verge of capping the amount of calories you can get at fast food restaurants. According to the Times UK, the Department of Health wants fast food chains to cap their foods to 400 calories for breakfast and 600 calories for lunch. The complete plan to try to slim down the UK is due in March.
Uh-oh. Sounds like a challenge there. Wait, what's going on here?
Oh, my.
All right, so you might have the ingredients in your kitchen right now to treat cancer.
Avocados, as you know, are good for you, but you actually might be throwing away the healthiest part of them.
A group of researchers in Texas have found a new chemical compound in avocados that could help treat cancer.
It's been in front of our eyes all this time. Properties of the avocado fruit that were unknown until now.
This is what we usually toss.
Right.
And this is what we eat.
Yes.
Dr. Debasish Bandyopadhyay and his research team at the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley are collecting what consumers and other researchers usually discard, the outer layer of the avocado pit.
We call these waste of waste.
2 years ago, Dr. Bandyopadhyay realized there were no studies done on the chemical compound that make up the peel of the avocado seed, also known as a husk.
That was the driving force to decide, so let's start working just on the peels.
The compounds they found are the same that are used to treat debilitating diseases, including cancer and heart disease, and to create a range of consumer products. As positive as all this sounds, Dr. Bandyopadhyay and his team warn that there are other compounds in the husk listed as cancerous.
That is the main reason why ACS, or American Chemical Society, pointed out this research as groundbreaking, because this research says that it is not a good idea. Many good molecules are there, many bad molecules are there. So do not take these pills like as is. Something about our recent findings.
The publishing of their findings in the Journal of the American Chemical Society last summer is an accomplishment that Dr. Bandyopadhyay attributes to his students.
A mentor without student is like, like barbecue without fire.
Students like Orlando Castillo, who never expected to make such a discovery at this stage of his career.
I'm still kind of nervous and overwhelmed by it. We still haven't completely published everything into a journal article because we want to get more information of our stuff and to have a more clear idea of what we are working with.
With only 30% of their research on avocado seed husks completed, this team of UT-RGV researchers hope to continue breaking new ground.
And you never know what this can lead to down the road.
And it makes you wonder about other fruits and vegetables and parts that we throw away we think do not have value, but do.
Yeah. Our 10 News School of the Week, powered by Duke Energy Florida this week, is East Bay High School in Hillsborough County. 10 News meteorologist Grant Gilmore talked with the students today in their AP Environmental Science class. They asked a lot of weather-related questions, which of course Grant was happy to answer. We're going to be live from the school tomorrow morning, starting at 6 a.m. is cold here in Florida. Take a look at these photos sent to us from Homosassa. Daniel Driggers sent us these. He said he kept his sprinklers on to keep his water pump running and to keep it from freezing. He also says it was to entertain the kids. But look at those chairs. You're seeing that table just covered in that water.
These are from Florida.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what it felt like today. I think people kept saying that. Like, what happened?
Well, we got cold. It only happens, thankfully, for us a few days a year where we start talking about temperatures that cold. But yeah, we saw pretty much everyone drop to or below the freezing mark, at least for a very brief period of time. So we even saw 20s here in Tampa Bay. That's an impressive cold front when we can do that. Check out some of these numbers. This is where we were this morning. Not a forecast. The worst is over. I can at least assure you of that. But we saw reports of 23 degrees this morning in Brooksville, got all the way to 28 in Clearwater, 29 in Tampa. That tied a record for today's date that was set back in 1981. So it's been a while since we've been this cold. In fact, we haven't dropped below the freezing mark in about 8 years. So that's okay. We can keep that another 8 years down the road. If we can kick that can, not the worst thing in the world. However, it will get cold tonight. We've got clear skies out there, aside from a few thin cirrus clouds that are not going to do much in the way of trapping in that heat. So we're already seeing temperatures. I told you there'd be more that fell into the 40s at next check. Here you go. Tampa included in that. St. Pete down to 47. Same story in Carrollwood. And we've got 44 right now in Brooksville as well as in Newport Richey. So it's cold out there. It's going to get even colder. But this time around, we're talking mainly 30s rather than 20s. So the warming trend has begun. We'll talk about just how warm it's going to get as we head closer to the weekend. I think you're going to like this forecast, and I'll break down all those numbers for you coming up in just a few minutes.
There was ice on the crops in Plant City this morning, even some until mid-morning. This was taken around 11 o'clock. You see the ice on the strawberry plants and on the orange trees as well. Farmers water their crops when the temperatures are expected to drop below 32 degrees. That prevents the crops from getting colder than that 32-degree mark. And check out this frozen fountain. This is from Carrollwood this morning. Stephanie Phillips sent this to us, and she writes, Florida forgot how to Florida. You probably felt that way throughout the day today, too, when you saw some of those pictures. Now, freezing temperatures are not keeping more than 1,400 people from camping in Polk County. The Alafaya River Rendezvous takes place every year in Homeland. 10 News reporter Grady Trimble is there live. Grady, what happened? Oh, you still have a little bit of the outfit on.
Yeah, actually, I had a wardrobe change from 5 o'clock. They gave me this more understated wool coat and a brand new hat. So I think I look less like a pirate. And you know that it was a lot colder out here last night than it is tonight, but I was born and raised in Florida, so I still consider this cold. The folks back here warming up by the fire, and they gave me all these clothes to wear. And as you know, there are hundreds and hundreds of tents out here for all these people camping, and the cold weather might not be ideal, but these people can handle it. Plus, it's way better than what they dealt with 2 years ago. A tornado tore through this little pop-up settlement, and it gave a lot of people a big scare and caused a lot of damage.
Around 75 tents went down. I think there was one broken hand, 2 concussions, and miraculously, we all lived through it.
Obviously, these people are out here rain or shine. A little bit of cold weather isn't going to stop them. They're staying warm by the fire. They'll be camping out here this weekend and all of next week. Some of the activities are open to the public, but that's not until the Friday the 26th. So if you want to come out here, you can, and hopefully it'll be a little bit warmer by then. Live in Polk County, Grady Trimble, 10 News.
Being cold, and they're going to stay out there again. They're looking forward to it.
They said they are. They said it's going to be just about as cold as last night, but they've got several layers of sheets in their bed, and they go to bed with long johns on, basically. So they say they're ready for it again.
Is this wool sweater keeping you warm out there tonight?
Yeah, actually it is. It is. They said this is period garb, so I'm thinking that they knew what they were doing back then before they had heat in their home. So yeah, it's getting the job done.
We appreciate the wardrobe change. Thanks, Grady. Now, this isn't something that you expect to hear or expect to see. Black ice in Tampa. People have been sharing this story all day long today. Florida Highway Patrol actually had to shut down the Veterans Expressway at Hutchison's Road to clear all of that ice away. They think that water from a nearby construction site somehow leaked onto the road, and then, of course, it froze. And one poor worker inspecting the ice, he slipped. Look at this. Oh, he slipped and fell as those cars were going past. Sky 10 just happened to be focused on him at the time. He got up. Hopefully, he is doing just fine. And of course, the manatees are gathering in warmer waters as well. This is what Three Sisters Springs and Crystal River looked like this morning. There's a viewing area at that park where you can see the manatees gather there. Now, because of the spring, that water temperature stays right around 72 degrees. And the manatees are also gathering near the Big Bend power plant in Apollo Beach. The plant's water discharge is keeping them warm there. Sky 10 flew over the Tico Manatee viewing area this afternoon. Look at them all out there staying warm. That viewing center, if you haven't been, it is free and it is open every day through mid-April. Now you can check weather conditions anytime you want. You can check those temperatures tonight, maybe if you're headed out early tomorrow morning. Be sure to check them on our 10 News app. It is free. Just search WTSP in your app store.
And you can also reach us directly through the app or Facebook, as this next family did. Family members in Plant City will be forced to say goodbye to this father. Luis Blanco is set to be deported by ICE at the end of this month. Now his pregnant wife and children are left to fend for themselves since he was the sole provider for this family. 10 News reporter Shannon Valladolid spoke to the family, who is right now very distraught about losing him.
Luis Blanco has called Plant City home for the past 20 years. He lives with his wife and 5 children and has another on the way.
¿Cómo están, mi amor?
Bien.
Sí.
Now the life he's built here is set to expire. He's counting down the days until he must leave his family and job. Luis is being deported back to Mexico at the end of the month.
Tienen un terapista porque pues ha cambiado su vida también.
My other girls have therapists because their life too has changed. They're having a hard time. I haven't told my younger daughters. I've said I'm just leaving for a while to visit their grandpa.
His wife is here with DACA protection. She arrived to the U.S. when she was just 11. But now, with that program possibly being eliminated, these children could be placed in foster care.
Abandonar a mis hijos.
To abandon my kids, it's something that hurts. They'll be left here to suffer.
This wouldn't be the first time Luis has been deported. In 1998, he received a deportation order and was sent back to Mexico. But with the conditions being bad in his hometown, he couldn't find work to support his family. So he came back to the U.S. illegally.
Many people might think, oh, why don't you just apply for citizenship? But for somebody like Luis, who is undocumented, and he doesn't have a U.S. citizen wife that can petition for him. Unfortunately, under our current immigration laws, there was not a pathway for him to do that.
A few years ago, Luis was stopped in South Carolina for having tinted windows and was detained by ICE. But he was released under court order supervision. Immigration attorney Daniela Hogue helped Luis file for a humanitarian stay, which under the Obama administration was granted. But now,
under the Trump administration, ICE has been given directives to pretty much make everyone a target, regardless if they've been arrested for a crime or if they've been arrested on a minor traffic offense. Everyone is fair game.
Luis having just a couple of weeks before he has to say goodbye for a long time. In Plant City, Shannon Valladolid, 10 News.
So what are Luis's options for staying? His attorney says there aren't many. His family can file a petition to let him stay, but they have to be U.S. citizens. His eldest daughter is 17 years old, so when she turns 21, she can apply. However, since Luis has a deportation order, he will have to wait 10 years before he can qualify for a waiver to come back. A CBS News poll found that most Americans support the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, but Americans are divided over whether the issue is worth risking a shutdown of the federal government. Democrats think it is, while Republicans do not. Last week, the president said that he would support a clean bill to protect immigrants who came to the U.S. as children. But then the president said he would not support a DACA and immigration reform bill without funding for the border wall with Mexico. Lawmakers have until tomorrow to come up with a decision, or the government will close up.
Amazon released a short list of 20 cities that are finalists for its second headquarters. Atlanta, Boston, Denver, Pittsburgh, and LA are just a few that made the cut. Only one Florida city's on the list. It is not in Tampa Bay. It is Miami. Our partners at the Tampa Bay Times report that Hillsborough and Pinellas counties had joined efforts to try to get it here. Locations included the site where Tropicana Field sits and 40 acres at the southern end of downtown Tampa. While mayors of both cities are disappointed that we're not on that list, they say working together like this creates a blueprint for future bids.
For some, it's just too close for comfort. Coyote sightings on city streets.
Coyotes are running in the streets, and we're not talking out in the country. This is in the streets of St. Pete. Videos like this are popping up all over social media, warning people about recent sightings. Coyotes can adapt and live in the suburbs or in urban areas. They breed at the beginning of the year, which could be why there have been so many sightings. While it's scary to run into one, they're usually not a threat to you. Waving your arms in the air and yelling is usually going to get them to go away. You might think about carrying a whistle and a flashlight when you're out walking, but you never want to run from one. And be sure to keep your small pets inside and do not leave food outside. If you're having a problem with coyotes, maybe you're seeing them in the same place consistently, or they've even attacked your pets, you can call the FWC Wildlife Alert Program. That number is 888-404-FWCC. There is a free coyote forum tonight at 6:30 in Venice at the City Hall Council Chambers. Speakers from FWC and the Wildlife Center, they're going to be there to help dispel some of the myths about the animals. We have all of this information for you at WTSP.com.
So another reason to keep your pets inside, of course, the other one, the weather.
The cold.
It's too cold.
It's a really cold night. Not as cold as last night, thankfully. It looks like the worst of our cold snap is over, but we're still going to see some near freezing temperatures in a lot of spots. So do them a favor, bring them on inside. They will definitely appreciate it. In fact, go ahead and do it right now because we're already seeing those temperatures down in the 40s. And if you've got to head out tonight, make sure you got those jackets and sweaters handy because these numbers are only going to get colder as the night progresses. Down in the 40s throughout much of the Tampa Bay area now. Where we're not seeing 40s, we're really close to it. Our warmest temperature on the map right now, 53 in Riverview. That's not going to be the case at our next check. These numbers are consistently going to fall as we head through the overnight down into the 30s rather than the 20s. So baby steps. We're working our way in the right direction in terms of getting some warmer temperatures in here, but you're still going to see one more night where, yeah, you can legitimately say, hey, it's not just Florida cold. It's cold out there. We've got 37 in Tampa tonight for your low, right around 32 for Lakeland. We'll see some upper 20s into the Nature Coast. But unlike last night where we were seeing several hours below freezing, we're going to bump up against that mark, maybe drop it in the upper 20s, and then a couple hours later, we're warm right back up. So it's going to be a different story from what we saw yesterday. But again, still definitely cold out there, and we will warm up a little bit more during the day, but not exactly balmy just yet. Still tomorrow afternoon is going to look pretty comfortable, all things considered. We're going to see a lot of low 60s for the Nature Coast, mid 60s for the Tampa Bay area, unless you're right along the water, in which case you'll be right around 60 degrees. Same holds true for Manatee and Sarasota counties, and then our inland spots right around 65 degrees as well. Not seeing any big fluctuations in terms of those numbers based on one neighborhood to the next. If you tend to run a little bit cooler, you might be closer to 67, 68. You tend to run a little bit on the cool side. That's when we could see some upper 50s to near 60 for your highs tomorrow. But everyone stays pretty sunny, and we clear things out through the overnight, too. So by tomorrow afternoon, there you go, 2 o'clock, temperatures right around 60 degrees and a little bit more cloud cover, but still looking pretty comfortable out there. And speaking of comfortable, then we get the really nice air in here, and we start talking about 70s making a return to the forecast on Saturday. Now, yeah, Saturday morning is still going to be a little on the cool side. We'll see those numbers in the mid-40s to start, but warming up really quickly, still getting those 70s in play. And then we get the really nice day this weekend. That comes up on Sunday with mid-70s, maybe even some upper 70s in some of those warmer locations with overnight temperatures that start in the 50s. There may be a stray sprinkle, but it looks like by and large we're going to stay dry through the weekend, so you don't need all the rain gear or anything like that. You can just get out and enjoy a decent amount of sunshine. A little bit more cloud cover, but still plenty of blue sky mixing in there. Now, you really want it to warm up. Monday's your day. 78 coming up, not looking so bad. And then the isolated shower chances become more likely, up to around 20%. And we also notice a little bit of a cool down. That's thanks mostly to an increase in cloud cover. The second half of next week, it doesn't look like we're going to see a lot of sunshine, but at least we're done with that cold air, and we'll actually start off with temperatures in the 50s and warm up to right around 70 degrees. Not looking too bad.
You've heard of these invitations before. A teenager invites their favorite actress or their favorite singer to prom. Well, now a Bradenton teen thinks that he has a shot at getting Taylor Swift to be his date.
Can you imagine walking into prom with her?
Not a bad date, huh?
The singer and songwriter has said yes in the past, but will she say yes again? 10 News reporter Isabel Mascareña spoke with the high school senior about his video and his admiration for Taylor Swift.
18-year-old Dayton Moderman has been wanting to pop this question since 9th grade.
Prom, and I'm asking you, Taylor Swift, to my senior prom.
The Bradenton Christian High School senior posted this 2-minute-long promposal video on YouTube New Year's Day. It's been viewed 48,000 times and has 4,000 likes.
Well, I hope she likes it. I mean, I know she's into the whole puns and like her fans doing creative things, so that's what I tried to do in this video.
Oh, and Taylor, if we went to prom together, we definitely would be the best dressed because we...
Dayton shot the video in 2 hours at different locations, incorporating lyrics from Swift's songs and some of his favorite things.
Taylor, I know you love the players, and I love the game, so let's make this prom a slam dunk.
Dayton got the idea for a promposal video in October when Swift surprised him and joined his live Instagram stream.
I was just, dancing to her songs, actually, look what you made me do. And then all of a sudden, I see Taylor Swift comments, oh my gosh, Dayton, this will be official tour choreography. And I was just like, what?
Why invite Taylor Swift?
Because she is one of the most genuine people that I know.
While he loves her music, Dayton admires Swift's character.
Being strong in who she is and not caring what other people think. That's why.
People at my school are saying this prom thing will never happen, but I say...
But if Swift says yes and attends Dayton's prom,
it'd be a highlight, not of only my senior year, but probably my lifetime.
In Bradenton, Isabel Mascareñas, 10 News.
He's creative. The video is creative.
Oh, and it takes work to put all of that together. Good for him. Look, in the video, he also asked Swift's boyfriend, British actor Joe Alwyn, for permission to take Taylor to the prom.
Yes, that prom is coming up on April 27th, so she's got some time to say yes.
The two best teams in the NHL are on the ice tonight in Tampa.
Now, from your Suncoast Hyundai dealers, this is 10 Sports.
Alda dug it free. Marchessault across. There's a shot. They score. Shea Theodore with 2.3 seconds to go makes it 4-3 Vegas.
Man, that loss felt like a gut punch, didn't it? The Bolts, with that last-second heartbreak, they've been reminded of that all week as they've been reviewing the tape in Vegas, preparing for their second matchup with the Golden Knights, the expansion team in the NHL, which have been fantastic this year. Now, the captain, Steven Stamkos, said that Vegas actually outplayed Tampa Bay that night. Not going to be any surprises tonight, though, as the Bolts are rested and ready to roll against the expansion Golden Knights, boasting the NHL's best record after the midseason break. Vegas, though, right on their heels. This feels like a playoff matchup tonight. I know it's only the regular season, but it really feels like it. However, the Bolts are going to be shorthanded. Star defenseman Victor Hedman out the next 3 to 6 weeks with that knee injury. So somebody's got to step up. Pressure's on the other Bolts defensemen to do just that. Anton Strawman will assume a lot of Victor's responsibilities. Rookie Mikhail Sergachev's role, it's going to increase as well, especially on the power play. No easy task replacing an all-star.
Nobody in that room is Victor Hedman. So you can sit here and say, oh, well, everybody's got to chip in. I guess they do, but it's not just the defensemen. I mean, our forwards, everybody.
Every time somebody goes down, it gives an opportunity for other guys to get a chance and look at different situations.
With Victor out, we kind of, me and the left-handed defenseman got to play like he has played.
Easier said than done. But it does help that defenseman Dan Girardi is likely to return to the ice tonight following that slap shot that he took to the neck just 10 days ago. He's all right. It's good to have another veteran out there in the absence of Victor Hedman. It's looking like a mirror, guys, watching the Bolts and Golden Knights play. I mean, take a look at how these two teams match up heading into tonight's game. The NHL's 2 points leaders, 65-61. Top 5 in goals per game. They both top that average in December's matchup. And they're tough around the net, allowing the 3rd and 5th fewest goals in the league. Now, Vegas does, however, own the Bolts in their Twitter game. They're pretty creative. Today, tweeting out stats. Tonight, we put our 12-0-0 record against teams from cities with palm trees on the line. Let's stand up for all the palm tree cities out there, right? Let's get a win over Vegas tonight and snap this win streak for them.
That'd be good.
All right, Ryan, I got something for you. So 2 new spas, a Starbucks at baggage claim, and a sports gear shop. These are some of the things, that you're going to be able to find the next time you go to the airport.
Yeah, this is really good. Lightning CEO Steve Griggs says that the new Tampa Bay sports store will have something for every major sporting event that is coming to the Bay Area.
It's the front door to our region, and it's going to have the All-Star paraphernalia starting on Monday. Once we have a Super Bowl here, we'll have Super Bowl merchandise, Valspar merchandise, Grand Prix merchandise. So we're going to have a store here that really flexes as it relates to, the great events that are coming to this region, as well as our 4 sports teams.
As you know, lots of changes going on at the airport. This is part of that new, nearly $1 billion facility expansion.
Well, when you forget that one thing, there it is. Because I'm that person who shows up at the airport and I forgot my socks. Like something random.
To have, the sports teams and the big events in the Bay Area, that they can have that right there.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, so looking towards tonight, but it's, the weekend is really what I'm curious about.
Well,
on that.
Just so
I
you
have
know.
good news for you then. Just focus on Saturday, Sunday.
There we go.
We're going to see 70s both days. Now, we're going to start off a little cool, especially Saturday morning, but quickly warming things up and not anything like what we saw this morning. We are not going to see any more 20s in our forecast for a while. Tonight still gets cold. We'll be back down in the 30s, but we're really through the worst of it. We've come out the other side, and starting Saturday, 70s for the rest of the week, minimal rain chances. This is why we live in Florida in January, folks. That one day, it's just a little blip.
78 degrees on Monday after coming from a day like today.
After 20s a couple days before.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to start packing away all my stuff just yet, right?
Keep it out.
Not all of it just yet.
But yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight for 10 News this evening.
Have a great night.